Okay, here we go. Isaiah. Good, Isaiah 5 and 20. Good, Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter, right? Part of that is getting into the philosophies, but again, it's talking about the love of the world. And what is the love of the world, right? Carnal flesh, carnal lust, right? Love of the flesh. A lot of that being money is one thing. The other thing is sex, high sexual immorality. You know, the other thing that goes unspoken among the kingdom of Moab is a lot of the men are into homosexuality. You talk about out in the West, a lot of the feminists, they like to put the title of being DL. They like to put that on black men or whatever. But I can tell you that, and it's a well-known secret out here in the kingdom of Moab. A lot of these Moabites, they are on the DL. A lot of the men are on the DL, and the women know it. The women know it. That's why a lot of the women, they treat their men like second-class citizens. You know what I'm saying? Once they get into a relationship with you, they see how. I mean, and all women do this, but specifically speaking for Moab, because that's where I'm at. They'll push your boundaries to see how far you'll go, see how far you'll bend, right? And a lot of the men out here, they have no backbone, right? Because of their traditions, where it said that you're supposed to get married and you don't want to mess up your household, and you have the saying "happy wife, happy life" or whatever. And a lot of Moabite men, they adhere to that, right? And so they sacrifice their dignity for a peace of mind, so to speak, right? So let's see. Keep going on. Yeah, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter, right? So what is that going into? The lust of the world, right? The darkness of the lust of this world is homosexuality, right? And again, a lot of these men, they engage in that out here in the kingdom of Moab. A lot of the women too. Now the difference between the men and the women show it outright, right? Being a lesbian or whatever, you can kind of tell when you look in their eyes or when you read their body language. You can see that these women are into lesbianism on a high level, and that's partly due in part to feminism, right? A lot of women, they've been indoctrinated out here in the East with feminism on a high level, right? And so they've forgotten the things that help them, that will help you sustain a marriage. They think all they have to do is be beautiful, right? And a man is just going to put up with all your nonsense, all your emotional baggage and stuff like that, right? They, a lot of the women, they indulge in a lot of what they call toxic chicken soup on Xiao Hong Shun. And men have woken up, like I said, and they're no longer going for it, right? Because these women, they have a love of the world, right? And they put darkness for light and light for darkness. Right? And they call evil good and good evil. Right? So what the women, because they can't find a man, what they start to do and what they start to delve in, dibble and dabble in on a high level is homosexuality, right? In a big way. And the men, they find that their only source of solace or any physical, I don't want to call it attraction, but physical, I guess you could say agreement with anybody is with another man, right? They out there drinking all hours of the night, confessing how this woman did him wrong, stole all his money. His friend gives him a shoulder to cry on, and they're hugging and stuff like that. And because they're drunk, drunk out of their minds, that physical touch between the men, and they're not thinking straight because they're drunk. It leads them down a path of chasing chasing flesh unseemly, so to speak. Right? So reading on. woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, right? So if you talk to the Moab, you're like, a lot of people in the West, they like to hold on, a lot of people in the West, a lot of Moabites, or a lot of people in the West, they like to look to, Confucianism and especially Buddhism, and they go into all these philosophies and these sayings of the Buddhist texts and scripts like that, right? And you think these people are wise, but they're not. They're not wise at all. Because what is wisdom? Wisdom is fear of the Most High, right? And a lot of these people, they don't have it. They don't have fear of the Most High, right? Matter of fact, they think there is no God, right? And that's blasphemy, and that's the arrogancy of the children of Moab, is to arrogantly profess that they have no belief in a God or in a spiritual world, right? And that makes them and that's destruction to them who think they're wise, or who count themselves as wise in their own eyes, right? And part of that wisdom is trust. Part of that being wise in your own eyes is trusting in the fact that money is always going to be there for you, right? Money is a defense, right? But the root of all evil is money, right? So when you start to worship money the way these people do, right? That's going to be part of what causes you to downfall. Because what ends up happening is, as you begin to worship money, as you do with anything that you worship, you begin to sacrifice your dignity, right, and your morals and your boundaries, just for that thing that you put above the Most High and to worship. And so it doesn't matter how you get this money, and any way you can get it, you'll go after it. Like one of the things that's unspoken of out here in the city of Moab is the housing market, right? The value of housing market is really, really bad out here, right? And the economy it's better than America's economy, but it's going the same direction, right? People have become greedy, right? And so when you flip a house, as you guys know, if I buy a house and then I want to flip it to make money, then I have to sell it at a higher price. But how high does it go before people can no longer afford it? And then that causes that market to crash, right? So that's what we see happening out here. Hello. So reading on. And prudent in their own sight, woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, right? And what is that wine talking about? That wine is talking about not actual wine. I mean, it's twofold, right? So you have wine, but then you also have philosophies, right? The vain philosophies. So when you talk about all the different philosophies of the world, and that's going to cause people to go off, and that woe is talking about destruction, right? Especially here in these last days, right? So what you're going to have is as the world economy continues to crumble more and more, you're going to have that a lot of these wines are not going to work, right? A lot of these philosophies that these people believe in is not going to do them any good, right? And that woe is going to be their destruction, because they have nothing else to lean on, right? What you're supposed to lean on is the Most High, His law, statutes, and commandments, right? Good. And men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Good. And so, whatever righteousness you have in you, when you start to dibble and dabble in all these other different philosophies, that's going to take your righteousness away from you. That righteousness is the covering of the Most High, right? And so, in these last days, it'll be very, very prudent for you brothers out there to get back into the scripture if you once were, right? And come out of all these vain philosophies that have been proliferated, right? And have been pushed on a high level, especially as you see in social media, right? So, reading on. Let's jump down. Let's go into Galatians 4 and 16. Salakia brothers, bear with me. Salakia brothers, bear with me, bear with me. Just double check. Alright, good. Galatians 4:16. I am therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth. So that's the other thing too. And you deal with, a lot of times you deal with this on a high level with within your own family as you have probably been woken up to the truth, or even just friends or whatever like that. When you begin to try to tell people the truth about themselves or about what's going on around them, they get offended, right? They get offended by hearing something that because what they do, what a lot of people do is they're used to filtering their life through their feelings and not filtering through it what's truth. And what truth is these scriptures, right? Like the other day, I was on the phone with a friend, and she's one of these influencer model type women or whatever like that, and we're just talking and shit like that. And I was trying to tell her, like, yeah, it's cute or whatever like that, but don't, you get a lot of attention from men, but that doesn't mean that these men think you're wife material, right? She said, well, men tell me I'm beautiful, and yeah, of course, men are gonna say that you're beautiful, and they want to have sex with you or whatever, but they're not gonna take you on as a wife, right? And I told her, I said, men lust after beauty and makeup, but men love and marry naturalness, right? She says, oh, well, I think that's offensive or whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm just telling you what men say, right? Just because you're listening with your feelings and not listening to what I'm actually saying, that's why you got offended, right? But if you listen to what I'm saying in truth, then you'd understand that what I say is not meant to hurt you, right? Because the truth is objective, and that's what I said to her. I said, I'm just speaking objectively, so you might be a little hurt or whatever like that, but when you, in your day-to-day life, when you look around, that's what you'll see, right? You'll see men who marry natural women that don't wear a lot of makeup, and you'll see men only lusting after women that wear makeup, right? They just want to have sex with her, and that's it. That's why you keep getting the results that you get with men, right? That's why you keep attracting the type of men that you keep attracting, men that only want to stick their penis inside of you. It's a lock you for my wording, but that's what it really is. And so reading on, they zealously affect you, but not well. Yea, they would exclude you that you might affect them. Exactly. So when you start to tell people the truth about themselves, they tend to, or the truth about what's going on in the world around